Welcome to our first episode of Just Jew and Me with Donna and
Adam.
I am so excited that we're finally doing this podcast.
Yeah, very excited too.
I feel like it took us a long time to get here.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, and it's great to finally be sitting in these chairs and doing it.
Why do you think it took us so long to finally, what did they say? Pull the trigger, rip the Band-Aid, make the decision,
Well, that's easy.
Why?
Because your schedule sucks.
Oh, we're going to only blame me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's usually what I do.
That's so true.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, why, I think we had a lot of iterations of why we wanted to start a podcast.
Yeah.
We wanted to start a podcast maybe a year ago.
Yep.
But it was a different version of this.
Yes.
It wasn't a Jewish podcast.
Correct.
Then, and we can talk about that. We can throw our other friend under the bus. We have many episodes to do that.
Yes, good.
But in this, the reason that we decided to do Just Jew and Me is actually an episode that I did for my other show, Daily Dose of Donna, with Mr. Jonah Platt.
Yes.
Recently, I had Jonah Platt from Being Jewish podcast on my show, and we had a great conversation. And you and I are Jewish,
We
guys.
are. If you couldn't tell.
A lot of people can't tell, actually.
Well, for
at me.
you, they could tell with me.
Yeah, I cosplay as a non-Jew.
That's good. It's good.
Yeah. You look Jewish? People say that?
People don't openly come up to me like, oh my God, you look Jewish. No, it's more like, I just know I look Jewish.
What does that mean to look Jewish?
I've been doing Jewish things for so long that I feel like either I am looking like everybody else who I associate with who are Jewish, or I just feel that I look Jewish because I do so many Jewish things, if that makes sense.
What is a Jewish thing?
Well, I'd say Hebrew school, growing up, Jewish sleepaway camp, which I don't think you ever went to, but was a big part of my growing up.
Can't wait to hear all about that.
Oh, yes. And now that I'm making my daughters go through the same hell that I went through.
You loved
I loved
every second of it.
All of that stuff growing up, surrounded by Jews and people, either practicing or non-practicing.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's just been me.
It's just a huge part of your life and who you
a very
are.
big part of my life, yes.
And what's funny about me is that I don't associate myself as being I don't identify as being a super Jew or being around Judaism so much until actually the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And we'll get into all of that. But that episode.
Let me go back to the Jonah Platt thing.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Say it.
So, another ridiculously Jewish thing. I was at my therapist, and
so Jews like to talk about their feelings and struggle. Yeah,
it's even Woody Allen loved his therapist, and
why do you have to bring up such a problematic Jew?
Because he's still Jewish, and if you look at all of the stuff he made, everything he does, everything in his movies, he talks about his therapist.
Oh, okay.
So of course, this is why I'm really digging into the whole Judaism thing. So I was at my therapist and talking about being a Jew, life as a Jew, especially in the last couple years.
Yeah.
And I've been really kind of, I wouldn't say depressed, but sad about kind of the goings on in the world and just everything that's been happening. And I think a combination of your interview with Jonah Platt and talking to my therapist, I thought, I like talking. Obviously, I have a therapist. We have a great relationship. I'm like, why don't we kind of put together something that really gets into the life of being Jewish and doing that sort of thing? And I think that's where in the past, few months, we've been kind of really talking about that.
Yeah, because it has been, there's no question that being Jewish in the last 16 months, I don't even know, since October 7th, you can't really skip over that date. Has been a different experience than before. There's a pre-October 7th and a post-October 7th. And this podcast is not here as a negative reminder or depressing. We don't want this to be a place where you come to learn about sadness or depression or history or a place to feel bad. We want this to be a positive place for Jews and non-Jews to kind of just learn about what life is like as two Jews kind of going through the motions every day and feeling, I don't know, what would you say? Feeling kind of
Well, I think it's a mixed feeling, right? Because
I thought you were going to say a mitzvah.
Now that's really Jewish. No, I think it's a mixed feeling because, yeah, there's all this negative stuff that is happening in the world right now that's happened to our people in, the history of this world. But there's so much joy in being a Jew. There's so much joy in the traditions that we've had, everything that our ancestors and our grandparents and our parents have continued with us, that I love to celebrate that. And, I have kids. I love to celebrate with my kids. And it's something that's more joyous than negative. And I want to make sure that people kind of understand that rather than just come to listen to this and say, oh, I'm going to be depressed every week.
Totally.
Let's talk about joy as well.
I love that so much. I think that's the one thing about Judaism and Jews and Jewish history that is like the reason why we are where we are as Jews in general is right. It feels like, you get knocked down and come back up. It's like one of those, what are they called? Those like, we were just at the Balloon Museum, my son and I, the other day, where you jump into those things that you jump onto and then they pop back up.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
They're like those.
I know the things that you punch.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay, so whatever they're called, we need Siri. But you push it down and it pops back up. We're resilient.
Yeah,
Jews are resilient, and I think part of that is this idea of like they always look for the joy. They always kind of find a way to find the light and find the happiness.
And I think a lot of it has to do with family and community, and because we are such a small part of the global population and the population of this country, it is imperative for us to kind of find those small communities to really feel included and have those traditions continue on to our next generation. So.
Totally. And so you and I have become even closer as friends, even though we met, so many years ago. So this first episode, we just kind of wanted to introduce our friendship and just how we've gotten to know each other and just share a little bit of the why we started the show. And then through this podcast, the goal is to just kind of take you guys into a little bit of the culture, a little bit of why we love being Jewish, of some of the fun stories around being Jewish, but also pop culture in Judaism and current events and stuff, but with humor and fun and joy. And then, of course, there's going to be sadness. And I can't promise I won't cry.
Oh, she'll cry.
I will always find a way to cry.
And I will laugh while she cries.
Why do you have to laugh when I cry?
Because I'm an asshole.
You really are. Okay. And you always find a way to make me feel worse about myself. Jesus when I am that's the truth.
Really?
But then you are actually a really good friend to me, Adam.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you.
Adam and I, let's talk about how we met first.
Go. You start and I'll fill in some blanks.
Okay. That's a good way to express our relationship. So Adam and I met when we were 16 years old in 1997. I grew up here in Los Angeles, as did Adam. He lived in the Valley, and I was a city girl. Oh my God, this is cute. This is like a musical.
It is a musical.
He was a Valley boy. I was a city girl. And I was not a Jewish school student at all. I didn't have a bat mitzvah. My parents are from Israel. So like a lot of girls in that, or I think my parents were just like lazy and didn't want to send me to Hebrew school. They were like, she doesn't want to go. And bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs are expensive. I'm planning one right now. It is not a joke. Like, this is not a joke.
I am scared out of my mind what I'm going to have to pay for with that shit.
I am doing everything in my power to get my son to decide he doesn't want to do it and just to go on a trip. And he is in this room right now.
Yeah, good luck.
So
it's probably a good idea.
Dylan? Never. Hawaii?
Never. Hawaii.
So many fun things in Hawaii. So we, when I was 16, one of my girlfriends in high school, shout out Jessica. Jessica Weisbarth. She said, do we have to like get her approval that I just said her full name? Okay. Don't worry, we'll get all of their full names on this podcast.
Yes.
She said that she was going on this trip, and it was called Ulpan. It was a 7 week or 8 weeks?
8 weeks.
Trip to go to Israel for the summer. And it was so out of my like norm. I never even went to sleepaway camp. I never once slept out of the house.
Really?
At a friend's houses.
Yeah, but that was your first time like leaving
for more than just a sleepover at a friend's house.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
To
another country.
to another. I mean, I would go on vacations with my
Yeah,
parents.
but I'm saying it's the first time away
Yes.
from your parents.
So I went. So I remember my mom. I mean, this is so typical. My mom was like, "It's too expensive. We can't do it. It's too expensive." And sure enough, she found a way. She found a way to send me, and I was 16 and going through like the stage of not wanting anything to do with my parents. I was so excited to get out of my parents' house for 8 weeks. Packed up, went to the airport, LAX, and that's where all of a sudden we end up at Kibbutz Gezer in the middle of Israel, which was a beautiful kibbutz, and that's where I met Adam. And where did you come from? What was your situation?
So, I mean, obviously a little bit different than you. Being in the Valley, there was a lot of Valley Jewish stuff that I was doing, whether it was Hebrew school or, again, going to Jewish sleepaway camp. Went there for 7 years before. And then I had the opportunity to either become a counselor at Camp Hess Kramer, which is in
my God,
Malibu.
you would be the best counselor. Like, I can imagine how cheesy you were. You knew all the camp songs.
Of course I did. I was up there singing.
Name one camp song that you remember right now. On the spot, sing a song right now.
I'm not going to sing a song.
No, you must. Remember you told me that if I asked you to sing a song
Shit, did I say
during the
that?
podcast, you have to do it.
Do I have to do a Hebrew song? Or, because there were Hebrew songs, and then
Hebrew.
there were...
This is a Jewish podcast.
Okay, I'm trying to remember all the words, but there's...
You have someone here to help you.
Do you remember a song called Bowie Kala? No? See? Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala, Bowie Kala. And that's it. I mean, that's... Okay. I sang.
Bowie
Oh, God,
Kala,
she's singing again.
Bowie Kala. Okay. Do you know what
anyway.
that means?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember. Maybe I did when I was 11. Anyway,
Sounds
so...
like
Bo means
Bo, come.
Come.
Ikala. Come here,
Okay.
friend.
Wait. Is that what it means?
No. Keep going.
Yours really? Okay. Anyway, so basically, I had the opportunity to be a counselor, but I had a couple friends who were like, we're actually headed to Israel over the summer. And I'm like, I never thought about doing that for like a summer break. Always wanted to go.
Hold on. Our producer Dylan has a note.
it means come my bride, and it's used to welcome like the Shabbat.
Ah.
Come, my bride, welcoming the
There
Shabbat.
you
We
go.
call the Shabbat bride. We call her a bride.
Oh, come Shabbat.
Look at
Welcome
that.
the Shabbat. Boikala, Boikala.
By the way, that should be our intro song.
That is. Just you and me. Boikala. I'm your bride.
During the Chadrodi, they go boy kala boy.
See, there
Okay,
you go.
there we go. All right, keep going.
So, with all this singing, I don't know what the fuck I am. Okay, so a couple friends, other Jewish friends.
Stressing you out will be my favorite part of the show.
Great, and listening to you sing like an idiot is going to be my favorite. So we ended up, my friends were like, we're going to Israel. I never thought about doing it in terms of like a summer break type thing. And I begged my parents, and my dad is like, he's so Jewy.
foot guy.
The foot guy. We'll get into that later. That's really weird to even say that. But we'll get into that later. My dad was all about Jewish identity and being Jewy and doing
proud
all
of
that
you.
stuff. So he's like, yeah, let's do it. So he signed me up. I knew a lot of people that were going on the trip, just from Hebrew school or people that I went to high school with. And that's how I ended up there.
So we get there after a long ass flight.
Yes.
It's like a 15-hour flight, 13-hour flight. I don't even remember. It's direct flight to Israel. We get to the kibbutz. We're all out of sorts. I don't even know. We're a day or two in. Everyone gets their little groups and their cabins or their little wherever the hell they put us up.
Yep.
And about 2 or 3 days in, should we just tell the story?
Yeah, go for it. Start it.
So Adam meets a guy named Dave Eichenstein, who we should put like
A
cardboard cutout of
I
Dave.
mean, at some point we will.
Dave will be on the show.
Yeah, of course he will.
He can't get out of this.
No, he can't. Dave is like, for context, Dave is a member of a trio of the three of us.
A line has been crossed.
A line has been crossed. That's what we call ourselves. But he's, we decided to do this without him.
Because he doesn't want any part of this, even though he does.
He does, but
does.
it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
He was put into my cabin when we got there, and we didn't know each other, but we quickly became very close friends.
Yeah.
And obviously we're still friends today. He's an extremely close friend. Like we were in each other's weddings. So this was.
I wasn't invited.
No, she
I wasn't invited to either of their weddings.
No.
I'm not bitter at all.
Okay, so we ended up becoming very close friends.
Yeah.
And but there was an issue.
What was the issue?
The issue was you.
It's always the issue.
It's always the issue. There's always a girl somewhere in there.
Still today, there's an issue sometimes with the girls. No, the only issue is the fact that you guys have daughters. Those are probably the issues with your girls. No, you guys came up to me, and I have no idea what happened between you. But all I know is you guys came up to me a few days into the trip, and you took me aside, and you said,
I don't remember what we said.
I don't really either.
So,
but I remember
we both said we liked you.
It was something along the lines of, Donna, you have to choose.
Yes.
We both like you. You have to choose. And I said, I don't like either of you in my mind, because I didn't. I like Darren, who was dating Jessica Weisbarth.
Yeah, again, Jessica Weisbarth.
Jessica. And that was my best friend.
Yep.
So Darren was dating my best friend. You fools both liked me, and I had to choose between you.
I mean, you didn't have to.
Well, I felt at the time that you guys were putting me up to. Then all of a sudden, days are mixed. It was 16 years old. I have no idea. All of a sudden, we're at a talent show.
Yes.
Cut to a couple days. You're singing "Wish You Were Here."
Yeah, but that was another thing. So Dave had his guitar.
There's always a guitar at Jewish summer camp.
Jewish summer camp, Israel. Some douchebag always has a guitar. Although I don't want to call Dave a douchebag.
No, but like a guitar is kind of a win. Girls love a guy that plays a guitar.
Yes.
I'm telling you, if you are, Dylan, I'm saying this, play a guitar. Like, that is the way to get, like...
To get what?
To get...
To get what? To get attention.
To get into a relationship.
Didn't work for him, obviously, because of the end of this story.
Yeah, that's true.
But I had, because I don't have anymore, a beautiful singing voice. It'll come back. Don't worry. We'll do a little bit more. But I'm out of practice.
You were literally a Broadway star.
I was pretty goddamn good.
You were so good. You were like Aladdin. I remember you saying did you want to be a musical theater?
I want to be in acting, but I didn't want to be necessarily musical theater. But, you know.
One day we're going to pull up pictures of Adam and I when we were 16.
Do we have to? With my face full of braces?
Oh, you were so cute. Oh,
God.
So he's saying, Dave played the guitar. I chose Adam. Adam broke up with me after 3 days. Maybe
only
2.
3? No, it was 3.
It was the fastest relationship ever. I said yes to Adam. He broke up with me, chose Jenna Sugarman. Where's Jenna now?
I don't know where Jenna is now.
I'll never forget that Adam broke my heart after I chose him.
By the way, she brings this up on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I get a text every day.
Not every day. Only when he's being a jerk. So anyway, we go through 8 weeks on that trip. We become very close. And then, you know, our relationships go through ups and downs. We leave the school, or we leave Israel, and he goes off to college. I go off to college. He stays very close with Dave.
Yeah.
I don't, because I go to Santa Barbara. You guys are guys.
Yeah, I'm a girl. We're just close. I went to USC. He went to Denver. But every time, University of Denver, and every time he would be home, he would be, you know, partying at AE Pie with me. Because, of course, I was in a Jewish fraternity.
And, and I didn't do anything Jewish at Santa Barbara. I was very, non-Jewish in Santa Barbara. But, you know, I did my own thing, came back to LA, graduated college, started working in casting, and you came back to LA and started working in the industry as well.
Yeah, I was working in the industry, working at for a studio for a little bit as well. Things changed. Now I'm a little different career change, but fast forward.
Yeah, you were very much in the industry.
Yeah, I was.
We were IM friends. We would be on AIM.
What was your name again?
O'Donnella.
And
you were
mine was
Noom Dog.
But not just one G. It's D-O-double-G.
Noom Dog.
Noom D-O-double-G.
Giggity. Isn't that like a Family Guy reference?
Yes. And please don't ever do that again. Please don't. Sorry. But I'd say through before the pandemic.
It was COVID.
But before the pandemic, I stayed close to Dave, but we weren't that close. Like I would reach out to you at random times saying, do you have a pediatrician?
Or do you have a wedding photographer?
Do you have a wedding photographer?
Yeah, because we were both LA people. And then you took your kids to the same Jewish preschool.
Right. So I asked you about the preschool.
Yeah.
And so, but there wasn't like, oh, we were hanging out.
We were not tight. And then pandemic time, Dave was in the East Coast.
Yeah,
you were here in LA. Jessica was here in LA. And we randomly decided, let's do a Zoom in the height of 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. When everyone was...
2020.
It was like,
that was like right in the middle of it.
Fully like not leaving our homes. And we all just got trashed on a Sunday night on Zoom, connecting with each other. And it was so much fun.
Yeah, a great time. And I just remember Dave... I think still to this day, the worst hangover he's ever had was
on a Monday.
The day after that.
Yeah, it was so fun. So meanwhile, since then, we've been much closer. And then, of course, October 7th comes around.
Oh, but hold on. So
sorry.
Dave, actually, he was living in New Jersey and working in New York. He moved his family out to Los Angeles.
Yes.
And when he moved out to Los Angeles, and this was either end of 2020 or end of 2021, I can't remember, that's kind of when the three of us really reconnected because we were all in the same city. He actually lives, the three of us actually live very close in such a big city of Los Angeles. But yeah, he came and then, the three of us kind of just became a trio again.
Yeah.
Without the love interest shit.
Yeah, no, none of that. Because our husbands and wives are friends with each other. I love your wives. You guys love Lance. And it's nice. It's a nice kind of relationship that we all have together. And we watched, the Oscars together just recently, and you will hang out and on the weekends and stuff when we can. And it's fun. It's a good time. But, recently, especially, I would say just everything that's been going on, bringing it back, of course, to
to our faces. Oh, you mean the name of it? Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
just to our faces.
Yes.
Your head is so much bigger than mine.
Is that a compliment?
That's to scale.
But is that a compliment?
I don't know. We'll have to work. We'll have to think about that.
We'll talk about
October 7th has brought on such an array of emotions. So many hard days, so many tough times, so many challenging, eye-opening things about what the reality is of being Jewish in this world that I didn't realize. I was in a bubble. Yeah. I grew up here in Los Angeles, truly thinking most people like us.
Right.
And Jonah said something on my podcast that you and I both really resonated with, which was...
Yeah, it was basically, the Jews throughout history have had shit times. The rest of the world has always been against us. And Don and I are children of the 80s. We were born in the 80s, and I think for the last, 40 years, maybe even a little bit longer, the Jews have been kind of relatively low-key. There hasn't been a lot of news or anything, or groups against the Jews. Of course, there's always going to be somebody, but it hasn't been a kind of worldwide phenomenon. Not like what we saw, back in the Holocaust or, in other parts of history. And then October 7th happened, and all of a sudden, that completely, our 40 years or 40 plus years of life completely changed being Jewish, because now we find the amount of anti-Semitism, everything that's going on in the world has been completely on the uptick. And what Jonah said is that, we were living in a rarity of times for the Jews. Those 40 years or 50 years, however long, is a rare part of the Jewish experience. We had it great. And now is back to regular old times. The fun times of when people are openly hating Jews and enjoying the fact that, we're a very, very small minority, but they believe we own everything. So this is that, and it really resonated with me. And I think that was that was part of that reason that I wanted to do this with you, was to kind of discuss that, but discuss even in the midst of all of this craziness and this anti-Semitism, all this stuff, it's still fun to be a Jew. There's still so much cool shit that we do. There's, even talking about Dylan's bar mitzvah, like that's a fun experience to plan, even though it's driving you up the wall, and it's probably driving up or draining your bank account. It's still an amazing thing, and it's fun.
Yeah. No, I would say that the good for sure outweigh the negative. And there's nothing like when you're hanging out with people that you can relate to, that know your culture, that know the food that you eat, that understand that amazing tradition and the songs and the incredible, reason that we sit around the table, and the Shabbat and the Challah and when I go to pick my kids up from school and I see the rabbi who we love, rabbis, that I don't even want to say his name now, but that we see all those people and the kindness. And when one of the people at, just say, our school, one of the parents is ill or a kid is ill, how everyone immediately comes together. The community stands up for each other. And I know just yesterday you were at our school's Purim Carnival, which is like a Halloween for Jews. And there's a reason behind it. Of course, it's not just like a Halloween, but they dress up. And the kids love it so much. And we celebrated it on Friday at our school. And there's just so many wonderful things. And it's important to highlight those. So that hopefully we can drown out some of this really bad, I would say, press and propaganda that is going around online. And it's loud. It's so loud. So that's the point. Yeah.
And I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to come back every week and talk about our experiences. This is awesome.
I'm super, super excited, Adam. So keep following. Thank you so much for subscribing as we kind of like flush out this idea and this podcast, and come along the journey with us.
Boikala?
Boikala.
Sing it again.
Boikala. Boikala. Is that how it goes? Boikala.
I kind of just want you to do your own version, to be honest.
Boikala. Boikala. Yeah.